film strip studio. In 2017, Strukova, Shevchenko, Artist Smehov Film Strip Production Studio, 1960. People did not care the question of the future. What is it? Who does not want to look into the next century? Reading sci-fi books, getting acquainted with the calculations of scientists and daring engineering projects. We can draw a picture of the future. So take a look into the future, fast forward to the years ahead 50 to 60. It may be on the eve of the centenary of the Great October Revolution, such as students, like you, in the geography lesson will watch film panorama of the recent past and present of the country, a film about how the Soviet people remaking nature for peace and happiness on Earth. These students' 2017 academic year in the cinema. A special technique, time loop, allows them to see how creates a new image of the country. The boys saw the stretch toward each other spans of bridges over bottomless mountain gorges. How very precisely directed atomic explosions cut unnecessary hills and broke through the channels. How reversed Dobyn NSA, and rushed to the Caspian Sea. This newly more sea drying is now taken new deep rivers. The boys heard the voice of the announcer, and here is the dam across the Bering Strait. On it, you see, Rush nuclear train. The dam blocked the path of the cold current from the Arctic Ocean. The Far East and the climate improved. Then the Earth's surface as it melted, and it was possible to see what is in the Earth. Deep volcanic underground boat moles of highly heat-resistant steel shaft to break through to the eternal sources of energy. Then the land had disappeared. The world space nearly the speed of light swept photonic rockets, interstellar ships, heading for the nearest and a distant planetary system, the Alpha Centauri. When the session ended, the geography teacher said that tomorrow the class goes on a trip in the underground of the city Uglograd, located in the Arctic. The next morning, Igor was awakened by the light click on the nose. So awakened his wall clock, a joke invented by his father, one of the controllers of the Central Institute of Weather Control. Squinting, the boy saw a soft plastic hand. Just to wake him, he is drawn back into the watch case. Today I see with my own eyes Uglograd. Happy to, Igor thought. Mom in the kitchen was not, but she left a note. Task smart cooking machine. My favorite breakfast. Happy boy. Igor carefully let the machine and threw it into the slot's note. In carrying out the task, invisible rays probed the outlines of the letters on the note. Buckets. Machines measure that need special knives quickly cut vegetables. Suddenly, from her father's study rang out Mother's voice. Mom looked screen TV video phone. She stood on the deck of the ship. It is located kindergarten, in which her children were younger. With breakfast I coat, Spursel mother smiling. You in the Black Sea, Igor surprised. I am on a business trip, the Black Sea floating inspecting kindergartens, and along with his dad came to visit. Pass on the phone. He'll be back tomorrow. Half an hour later, Igor was already far from the capital. Arctic met a violent blizzard arrived. Muscovites surrounded by local workers. Before excursionists opened the hatch, and a wide belt of the escalator brought them down. Then all went through the streets Uglograda, the air wafting delicate scent of linden, looking at the people sunbathing on the beach under a crystal star. It was hard to believe that at the top of a raging blizzard, and on the outskirts of large steel combines cutting into the rock, a lot of interesting students reported Uglograd engineer Vladislav Ivanovich. We have here, under the earth, rain's eternal spring, he said with pride, but capricious weather at the top of the graph terra-sending products. And being built flying weather control station could not cope with the vagaries of Arctic weather? Asked Nikolai Borisovich. The children waited with interest for the answer of the chief engineer. While flying station actions are temporary, said Vladislav Ivanovich, and create the conditions for a continuous flow of goods, can only intercity subway across the Arctic. Here is a model of a new design Zemlyovic speed drilling machine. This Zemlyovic will run on newfound energy mesons, which will increase the rate of penetration tripled. And flying weather station management is very great future. A man will be in the office to press the radio button, and the car will fly and tame a hurricane a storm destroys, and that could make a flying station. Students have learned very soon, at the very moment when Vladislav Ivanovich spoke to them in his office in Moscow. At the Central Institute, chief weather forecaster of the country and the duty manager weather, Igor Evgeny Sergeyevich's father, discussed emergency messages received from the Pacific. Just reported, said the chief forecaster, that last imperialists hiding on the distant island experienced mise-on forbidden weapons. During the test there was an explosion of unprecedented power, which destroyed the island and at the same time caused perturbations in the atmosphere on the planet. That is why our intelligent machine forecasts predicted today's suddenly storm in 12 points in the Black Sea, although yesterday's forecast was favorable, said Evgeny Sergeyevich. An explosion in the South Pacific brings with it the terrible hurricanes and storms. We need urgently to save people, decidedly, said the chief forecaster. Our flying station is ready. Brain Yevgeny Sergeyevich burned scary thought, ships, floating kindergartens, and there's his wife, Nina. Victor, a hurricane is approaching by the minute. A station is not equipped with radio control. We ask for permission to take off people from weather control station, said the chief forecaster. The flight itself, of course, we run the risk of life, but we need to save the children, sailors, ships. Resolution on the flight was received, and flying past the window of weather stations have tall rush of water, they reached the clouds. On the TV screen mounted on the stations flashed the Black Sea coast. A huge pillar tornado bore rooftops, tearing centuries-old trees. Chief meteorologist down on black glass windows. In remote, technicians on duty. Fire cut eyes even through the black glass because the station radiated meson's unprecedented energies. Radiation fought with a whirlwind. When, finally, the meson lightning were off and raised, the black glass tornado magically disappeared. Flying weather control station saved hundreds of people. An explosion in the South Pacific, in mortal danger the Black Sea coast, and made itself felt in the capital. Grey impenetrable slime crawling on a dull sky. But the capital is ready for the holiday. The streets felt extraordinary revival. Muscovites snatched from each other the latest newspaper reports about the new achievements of Soviet science in the management of the weather. And then suddenly the clouds broke, and the pillars of golden light lay askew on the house and gardens. Bright corridor all expanded. Above the town is slowly floating flying weather control station, jubilant capital preparing for the 100th anniversary of the Great October Revolution. This celebration coincided with the great victory of Soviet science over nature. When Igor's father came out of the flying weather stations, the son of a long time to break out of it at this time, especially cuddle. In the evening, Evgeny Sergeyevich included Television and called the ship Kakati. On the screen he was smiling wife, and Nina was standing beside her and shouted, "Dad, we had such a warm rain." The end.